Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Now I want to apologize ahead of time because you're going to see in a minute my lighting is just terrific. So I really apologize for that. But today I'm going to share with you a brand new kit to the Queen & Co shop. Oh my gosh, this kit is super cute. It's called All Bundled Up and I'm so excited I get to share it with you. This is all the winter elements you can imagine in here and it's super fun. On your front cover it has 6 cards with inspirational layouts, and then it has also everything that comes in the kit. We're going to start off with the mat stack. This has 12 double-sided pattern papers and you get 4 sheets of each pattern. Super fun colors, pinks and blues and teals, just love it. So and a lot of two-tones, which I really like in paper pads because if you want a busy pattern with the two-tone, I think it works out great. Okay, here are your dies, and oh my goodness, you get 16 in total. You get a little polar bear, could be a teddy bear too. You have a snowflake, snowman, a mitten, a little hat, and then a little penguin. Super cute. Okay, you also get a 4x6 stamp set. It's the all bundled up stamp set with 12 wintry sentiments that are so fun. Sentiments like winter kisses and snowflake wishes, wishing you a season of frosty fun. So, and they're quality photopolymer, which is really fantastic. You also get your shaker shapes. Now this time they're left inside of the foam sheet, which is fantastic because you can actually use that foam sheet for extra double-sided foam tape adhesive. So I appreciate the extra little foam sheet here. Okay, you get 18 shape shaker kits or shape shakers, and yeah, this has adhesive backing on the front and back too, so we got to keep that. But like I said, 18 shaker shapes that coordinate with your dies. You get 3 snowman, 3 snowflakes, 3 polar bears. You get 3 of the little penguins, 3 mittens, love the mittens. And these 2, I'm not showing you, but you could just punch out that centerpiece to create your shaker. But you get your 3 mittens, and then you also get 3 of your winter little hats. So you can create lots of cards with this kit, and I love the winter elements. So keep that. Okay, next you get your acetate sheets that are pre-die cut for you, and you get 3 of each of those as well. These kits are ready to go to create super fun and easy, super easy, my goodness, shaker cards. Now here are your toppings, and you get lots and lots, and they coordinate with the pattern paper, which is lovely. I'm going to start off by showing you there's a few of them that are mixed, so they have different colors in there. 4 in total. I'm going to give you a close-up of the mixture that you can see. But you have some soft blues and pinks and bright pinks, and it looks like purple from my camera, but it really isn't. It's pink. In fact, when I show close-up pictures, you'll see the true color. But you get some solid also. You get a pink, a gray, and then a blue, and then also your pearl white. And then you also get some diamond toppings, which are just lovely. I love the teal color in here, and they're super duper sparkly. But you get a frosty white, a clear white, the teal, and then of course the pink. So you get all of these toppings in this month's kit. Well, it's not this month's kit, but in the all bundled up kit. Okay, so I'm going to make some projects today. I'm going to use each one of the dies that are in this kit. So we're going to start off by die cutting out a panel that's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to use my rectangle die to cut out my panel. I'm just going to trim it down, make it easier to go through my die cut machine. Now I'm also going to cut out my snowflake for this card, and I'm going to use white cardstock. And the nice thing about this snowflake die is it has stitched lines, and I love my stitch lines, so it's super pretty. You can see there the stitch lines. Okay, now we're ready to assemble our card. All my card bases today are A2 in size, but I'm going to start off by adhering my pink panel directly to my card base. Next, I cut out 2 different size strips of the pattern paper. I'm going to fishtail the ends, and then I'm going to layer them together towards the right on the top side. I just adhered them both with my tape runner. Now we're going to assemble our shaker. I removed the paper release from the snowflake shaker shape, and I'm going to place that on my card base here. Next, I'll take the inside piece of my die cut snowflake. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then that's going to go inside of my foam shaker shape. This is going to give me a white background. Now after we have that adhered, we're going to add our toppings. I'm going to use the pink diamond toppings. Super pretty. I'm just making sure I get them on the end of the snowflake. This way it's evenly distributed. So we have a real pretty soft pink snowflake. Now I'm going to remove the plastic release paper off of the very top of our snowflake. I always like to remember that the paper goes on paper, and then the plastic release paper goes with the plastic acetate. We'll take our acetate sheet here and just go over our shaker shape. And it fits beautifully. And then all we have to do is add our die cut snowflake over the top. And I'm just using glue to adhere that. Super pretty. And we can save that for extra pieces or even another card. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. For this sentiment, I'm going to use some Distress Oxide inks. I have picked raspberry, and then I want to create a little bit of a gradient using some seedless preserves. I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "If kisses were snowflakes, I'd send you a blizzard." I'm just stamping it on some white cardstock. I love that effect. I'll take my paper trimmer and just trim it down and then block it off. We'll do the sides too. Next, just using my tape runner, I'll adhere that over my snowflake, kind of offsetting it a little bit. Okay, for bells and whistles, I'm going to bring in some glitter globes. These are from Queen & Co. And I'm just going to add 3 to the very top right there for a little bit of extra shimmer. And that completes card number 1. Now here's my close-ups, and you can see the color difference. This is the true color of the pattern paper, but it's so pretty. Okay, for my next project, we're going to create a real fun little hat card. So I'm taking this pattern paper, and again, I'll cut out a panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. On the outside edge, we're going to actually create a frame with this. So I'm taking a smaller die to create a 1/2 inch frame. Now I'm going to take the elements to create my little winter hat. There's a little circle that goes for the top of the hat. I'll die cut that out. And then also there's a bottom portion that you can use for your hat. And I'm going to die cut that out with the same pattern paper. And I thought we'll just do the whole entire hat. And I did die cut it out with the blue pattern paper also, the main hat piece. Okay, once my frame is die cut, I'm going to add some foam tape behind it. Now here's where, if you wanted to use the negative portion of your shaker shapes, it'd be perfect. But I wanted my foam to be a little bit lower on my card base, so I just used regular foam tape. I'm going to adhere my frame to my card base, and then I did trim down a piece of the pale blue pattern paper. This is going to leave me a little bit of a white edge on the inside of my frame. We're kind of going to mat our little images here. Next, we'll build our shaker. We'll remove the paper release paper and place our little hat towards the top here. After we have that positioned, we're going to add the inside of our hat. We're going to use the stripe paper for the inside. I'm just going to tape it down with my tape runner. Okay, next for toppings, I thought the pale blue toppings would be pretty. We'll just add a little bit inside our little window, and then we'll remove the release paper and then add our acetate cover. And again, everything's pre-measured for you, so it makes creating your little shaker super easy. Okay, next we'll add our outside edge of our frame, And I just like using glue. If you want to use your tape runner, it would adhere to the plastic just as well. I'll just adhere the middle part of my hat. We'll go ahead and add our bottom striped portion of our hat, and then we'll go ahead and add our little pom-pom. Actually, a pom-pom would be really cute on the top of this hat. Okay, for my sentiment, I'm going to be using a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp it with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. The sentiment says, "'Tis the season to be freezin'." That's super cute. I'm going to mat this on a piece of the navy pattern paper. And then this is going to go directly on our card base. I'm going to lower it just a little bit. Okay, for a little bit extra something, I'm going to take some more of my little white glitter globes, and we're going to add 4 right below the hat. And that completes card number 2. Super fun. Here's some close-ups. Okay, for card number 3, we're going to use the snowman. So I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and die cut him out. And I'm going to pull in one of my hillside border dies to create a snowbank. You've seen a lot this month. I like using making snowbanks on my cards for winter cards. Okay. Next, I'm going to use my Copic marker. This is an orange, and I'm just going to scribble a little portion on my white cardstock because there's the snowman nose, and then there's a little eye set too that I want to die cut out. And I found this easier than just using cardstock, regular cardstock. I thought while I'm at it, I'm going to die cut out the little penguin nose too. There's little buttons for the snowman. I'm going to add a little bit more black ink, and then we're going to die cut out the eyes and then the little 3 buttons. Super cute. Okay, now I want to put a little hat on him. I love this little hat, so I'm going to use the polka dot pattern paper. Just going to trim down a small strip, and we're going to die cut everything all at once. Okay, once everything's die cut, I did change my mind from the polka dot hat to the pink snowflake pattern paper. I thought it looked a little bit nicer. Okay, I'm going to add my snowbank to my blue pattern paper that I just trimmed down. This is going to leave me about a ½ inch around white area around my card base. Next, we'll stamp our sentiment that says, "Sending a frosty hello your way." Aren't these sentiments super cute? Okay, next we're going to build our little snowman. Place him to the right here. I'm going to add and I thought before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card base before it gets any bulkier. Okay, we'll add the inside of our snowman. Lovely. Okay, for toppings, I wasn't sure what colors I wanted to use, so I'm just kind of playing around. And I ended up going with the pink pearlies, and I'll also do a little mix of my own. So I'm going to add some white to my snowman too. And boy, I got them everywhere. So we're doing a little pick-me-up here. Next, we'll remove the plastic release paper, and then we'll add our acetate. I've given out some of my little shaker cards to some friends recently, and oh my gosh, they fell in love with them. I love creating with this kit, with the Queen & Co kits. Okay, I added my little buttons just using some glue. Now we're going to add our little snowman eyes, and then our snowman nose. The little eyes you can use for the polar bear, and you can also use for your penguin. And they're kind of on the smaller side, so it's nice to put those on a magnetic sheet right away, otherwise you'll lose them. But I went ahead and add my little snowman hat. Lovely. I'm just still playing with it. I fussy a lot with his little hat. You'll see towards the end I do end up shifting it a little bit more. Okay, we're going to make some snowflakes, and to do that I'm going to use some rubber bubbles. These are from C&CT also. And I'm just going to add them all over my background so it's nice and snowy. And then I did bring in some paper twine. I brought in some pink and white paper twine. I just tied a little bow and adhered it above my sentiment with a glue dot. Here's where I adjusted my little hat. Kind of a little bit wonky. Next I'll take a piece of this extra foam sheet and I'll place that right behind my hat just to give it a little bit more stability. And that finishes off that card. Super cute. Here's some close-ups. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 4. Now I have a piece of vellum. I'm going to die cut out the snowflake with some vellum to create a real soft snowflake background. Next we're going to use this pattern paper, and I'm going to use the little mitten. We'll cut out the base of our mitten with, it's like a taupey color, and then for the base of the mitten, or the bottom portion of the mitten, I'll use some white cardstock. And then using a piece of white cardstock, I am going to bring in a scallop die that I have in my stash, and I want to add a little fanciness to my sentiment. So I'm going to scallop the top edge and the bottom edge of this white panel here. Okay, everything's die cut. We're going to assemble. So taking this paper, we're going to adhere that to all the way to the bottom of our card base. We'll take our plaid pattern paper. Actually, it's not plaid, it's more like a gingham. We'll place that right on top of it. Lovely. Okay, my sentiment's going to go over the seam here, and then I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. Now to add my shaker, I wanted to add it behind my vellum snowflake, and this was super easy to do. I'll just take my shaker shape, remove the release paper, and add it to my vellum snowflake. Since it has adhesive, it's going to stick really well to it. Next, I did die cut out a white little mitten. So, actually I did not die cut out a white mitten. I placed my pattern paper on the inside of my shaker. I'm going to add a little more tape behind it and then secure our snowflake in the top portion of our card base. Okay, I built my shaker. I used the teal colored diamond toppings, and then these dies too have not only stitch detail but embossed detail too. And my camera lighting is terrific, like I said, and it just didn't pick it up. But and maybe in the close-ups you'll be able to see it. Okay, once my mittens adhered all together, we're going to stamp our sentiment. This one says Warm Winter Wishes. I'm going to stamp it with VersaFine ink right in the center, and then just using a piece of my foam tape, I'm going to add that behind my little scallop border and place that over the seam. And as I was looking at it, I was going to call it done, but I just needed a little extra sparkle, so I'm going to be using some sparkle string, and this is from C&CT also. This is beautiful. This is like a teal colored with iridescent hue. I'm going to do a little tucking. So I'm kind of shimmying it underneath my shaker very carefully because there's no backing on it. And then once it's underneath there, I'm just going to tie a bow all the way to the left. We'll just trim the tails of our string. And everything that I used today, guys, will be listed below for you. Super cute. And then that finishes off card number 4. Here's some close-ups. Okay, moving along to card number 5. For this one I did actually quite a bit of layering. So using this pattern paper, I'm going to trim down a panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to go ahead and adhere this directly to our card base. Next, I trimmed down a slightly smaller piece of the stripe pattern paper, and we're going to adhere that right over our previous pattern paper. I'm going to use a circle die to cut out a circle with the pink snowflake pattern paper, and we're going to use the penguin. So instead of using black cardstock, I thought gray would be nice. I like gray with pink. So I die cut everything out. Now I die cut out a slightly larger white circle and then a slightly smaller circle with vellum. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit more layering. I'm going to layer my pink paper on my white cardstock and then the vellum over my pattern paper here. So it has 3 layers, but I think the vellum will help soften those colors. Now I used the little hat die to cut out the centerpiece of the hat. I had this negative piece of the hat die and I wanted to put it to good use, so I'm going to show you in a little bit what I did, and I think it turned out super cute. We're going to first build our little penguin, so we'll place him in the center of our circle. I did die cut out a second white penguin for the inside of his shaker portion. I added some gray pearlies on the inside, and then I added his beak and his little 2 eyes. Next, we're going to stamp our sentiment. Well, we'll go ahead and adhere this to our card base. But my sentiment for this card says, "Wishing you a cool birthday." I just stamped it with VersaFine ink, and then I did mat it on a piece of the pink fuchsia colored polka dot pattern paper. Now my penguin was almost floating, so I decided to push him down against my sentiment panel. That way it was a little more cohesive. Okay, here's what I'm going to do with this little half circle. I'm placing it on the very top of my card. Next, I'll take the little negative piece, and I'm going to cut out a small little, almost like a little triangle. We're going to create a balloon with this half circle. So I'll remove the top release paper from it, add my little balloon stem, and then we'll go ahead and add our die cut balloon. Now there was a little bit of adhesive showing, so using my anti-static powder tool, I'm just going to go around it. That way it takes away the tackiness. But I have an instant, well, it's not a full balloon, but it's pretty close. I think you can tell it's a balloon. Okay, we're going to add a bow to it. I'm going to use some more sparkle string. This is white sparkle string. It's probably my favorite. In fact, I have a backup. I'm almost out of it here, but I do have a backup. I'm going to add another piece underneath my balloon here. We're going to create a balloon string. I'm going to create it kind of loose, and then I'll tuck a portion of it underneath my penguin's hand as if he's holding a little balloon. Super cute. And then I'll use a glue dot to secure my bow on top of my balloon. Fun little winter birthday card. Here's some close-ups. Okay, for my final project today, we have the little polar bear, and I love this little guy. He is super cute. I'm going to die cut him out with some white cardstock, and then I am going to take the little scarf, and the scarf can be used actually for the penguin and for the snowman too. We're going to put him on the polar bear today. But I'll do the same thing as I did previously. I'm just going to use my Copic marker. This is one of the facial features for my polar bear. I'm going to die cut that out. And I did die cut out the nose and eyes again. Okay, for my background, I'm going to use the dark navy pattern paper. We'll place this in the middle of our card base. This is going to leave me a little bit of a white border on the top and then on the bottom. And then next we'll stamp our sentiment. I'm going to use Versamark ink to stamp it. We're going to do some heat embossing with some white embossing powder. This sentiment is super cute. Oopsie. It says, stay nice and snug with a polar bear hug. I just love that. After I added my embossing powder, I went ahead and melted that, so our sentiment's ready to go. Next, I did die cut out a real thin circle. This card is pretty easy, and it's two-tone, but I think it's probably one of my favorites. I'm going to adhere my circle frame directly on my card base. After we have that adhered, we're going to create our polar bear shaker. Now for the inside toppings for him, I did use the clear diamonds and then the frosty colored diamonds. So I just mixed them both together. I added his facial features and then his little scarf. A pretty simple card, but I think it really turned out cute. Okay, and then just for a little added touch, I'm going to go in with some Queen & Co. Starburst embellishments. I had 3 left and I thought that would work perfect for this card. They look like snowflakes almost. But I adhered 3 around my little polar bear and that completes him. Super fun kit. I was so excited. I just loved all the elements and I think it's a great for your stash. Because you can make a polar bear or a teddy bear for any occasion, not just winter. But here's a look at all 6 cards that I made today with the Queen & Co.'s All Bundled Up kit. If you're interested in the kit, I will leave links down below for you if you want to check it out. But thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I hope you're having a warm and cozy day, and I'm sorry again about my lighting, but I wish you a lovely day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.